Alright, what we're looking at here is, you can see there's a flap here. This is two pieces of canvas. I didn't have enough to cover the whole entire thing with one piece. That doesn't mean that you can't paint with it. For me, what I do is I change it into, for an abstract painting, something that I know I'm going to put a lot of texture on, I'm going to put multiple layers on, and this seam is just going to disappear. It's not a matter of strength, it's stapled on the back. I use hot glue and I glue the seam together just for that initial bond, because once you start layering on these paints, that paint just acts like a glue. What I'm using right now is a mix of like, I get a lot of sales on Craigslist for like, you know, pick up somebody's basement full of paint and stuff for like, you know, $6-7 and you get gallons of paint, because that's what I use. There was this wall covering primer stuff. It looks somewhat white opaque, I would say. I'm not sure exactly how clear it dries, but I put it into little containers because it's easier to use. But I'm going to put that down first, just because I don't want to really, I mean, for an abstract, I don't really want to waste any good paint, so this is a good time to experiment with stuff. In this case, I'm going to, you know, layer it on pretty thick, because your first coat always goes fast. Alright? Here you're just looking to get coverage. I'm not really worried about wrinkles or anything like that. I just want to get paint on the surface. You have to imagine that this is like these little microscopic fibers that are in your fabric are now holding all this liquid and all this paint. And that's how you get the strength. And the more coats that you put on, the smoother this surface you can get it to eventually be like a sheet of glass. By doing variable things, you can put one coat this way in this general direction here. Just do everything stroke this way. Then the next coat, you know, go horizontal like that, and you keep doing that to the point where you're filling in every little nook and cranny. It's your preference. Everybody has a different. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way. I think the wrong way would be just leaving on glops and gloops and not working the paint in. As long as you work your paint in, it shouldn't be a problem. Now this wall covering stuff is very liquidy, so normally you would use way more latex or way more gesso. When I'm doing a patch like this, I really want to get a lot of liquid on that seam. I want to really make sure that it's absorbing through there. I'm not worried about weakness, just again, it's just about overall smoothness. And, you know, if you really roll with it, you can just make the best out of that seam and even highlight it if you wanted, you know, if you really were worried about it. See, that it's funny, the part that has no glue went down real well, but the part that I glued, because the glue isn't going to react with the moisture in the paint, it's like a plasticky, it's a hot glue, so it dries hard, and it's totally not allowing the moisture to absorb half, so it's going to leave a little bunchiness there. I'm happy with that, I'm not worried about it. It's totally going to leave a little bit of texture on the painting for me. Now, you know, you're going to have to give yourself some time to let this dry. For me though, in this case, I'm not going to let it dry, because I want to do another effect that I'm going to show you, and that is just another way of keeping, I'm really buttering up the edges here, because you're going to see what I'm doing is I want to keep this wet, and that's my goal, is to keep this very wet, because I'm going to introduce another layer. Alright, so I'm not 100% sure how well it's going to glue to this, but it feels pretty wet. Alright. Alright, I'm going to turn this on and off real quick because I don't know how far along we are. 4 minutes.